Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subject comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan site that'll have plot synopsis and character bios for this issue. The New Mutants number 11. Now, here, this is pretty cool. It's Assistant Editors Month, and Elliot R. Brown was the assistant to, oh my God, Louise Simonson Jones at this time. And so, this is from 1983, by the way. Cover featuring Magma and Walter Simonson penciled this cover, but Tom Mandrake inked it here. So, all right. So here it is. Beware its Assistant Editors Month. Now, most of the time there were funny covers that took over for that month, but this does not look like it was a funny cover here. So, we have our regular cast of characters. Chris Claremont writes. Sal Buscema, or Buscema, is the penciler with Tom Mandrake as the inker. So, all right. It does says Louise Jones is the editor. However, most of these issues were not edited. There was some kind of retreat or something. I don't know what the deal was, but so we're gonna pick up. I have a couple of playlists. I have a New Mutants playlist. I have an X Universe playlist where I have everything in reading order. The New Mutants is just the New Mutants. The X-Men is just the X-Men. But the X Universe is everything. And as I mentioned, in reading order. So we are in New Rome here, which is in underneath the Brazilian Andes, so all the way in western Brazil. Now, the Andes does not go into Brazil. Just want to point that out, but it's the 80s, so you work with what you got. Sometimes all you got is your imagination. So we got Magma here shooting on her powers at Selene. This is a Selene that will join the Hellfire Club as the Black Queen here. So Magma says, "You cast me into the fire, Selene, to what you thought was my death. But I've been reborn, made one with the molten heart of the Mother Earth itself. No more will innocence perish in agony, so that you might live. This night your reign of terror ends," says Magma. And of course, Selene says that Lady Amara remains to be seen. And then we have Danny here. And so, Selene continues, "I have preyed on humankind since before the dawn of history. Many have tried to slay me. Their bleached bones are eloquent testaments to their success. You evidently command the living flame, girl." And so you can see Selene shooting at her. "But mine is the power to bring all things inanimate to life." So that's a cool power. I love comic books. So, all right. And Selene continues, "Brute force, no matter how strong, is no match for my skill and experience. The child was outmatched. She had no chance from the start," says Selene. I love the blackness kind of there and the color too. Really red in the background and the yellow to make this stand out. And then he cries out for Amara here as these stone sentinels kind of take her with her. And so Danny, of course, thinks here, "I don't understand what happened to Amara. That transformation wasn't Selene's doing. She was as surprised as me." And then she gasps here, "Selene, by my ancestors, your face." Of course, Selene gets old, so she needs to eat people, but not eat them as in a cannibal, like their life force, I guess, for lack of a better word here. Um, does my appearance shock you, Danielle Moonstar, says Celine. Each victory has its cost. This was dearer than most, she says. Fortunately, however, my condition is easily rectified, albeit with the sacrifice of my loyal disciples here. And of course, priestess, no, they said, you have served me well. And of course, they're like, in mercy's name, spare us. But of course, she dismisses all of them. With each death, each exquisite moment of agony, my youth and vigor are restored. Feel it, Danielle. That darkling ecstasy that sustains me. Is it not wonderful? Do you not hunger for more? And she's like, no. And then, yes, oh yes, she says. So, we are bound by name and blood. Such a link can never be broken. As I make you mine, so shall I do the same with your fellow New Mutants, and together we shall reach out across the world to make it ours. So, and she's like, I'm no one's slave, witch. And Selena's like, you still defy me? It is not possible. And Danny says, yeah, maybe you're not as tough as you think. And she says, no matter, eventually I will prevail, says Celine. And Danny says, I'm the least of your worries. That lava pool, it's exploding. So, and of course, here comes Magma again. Your ploy failed, milady. In panic, I let your rock demons bury me until I realized that I could burn through them like lava with ease. So, can you say the same, evil one, as she douses her with lava? Of course, Danny tries to make her way up. I dare not let any of that stuff touch me. Amara's already made the cave almost too hot to stand. But where can I go? Molten rocks cut off the only exit, and I can't climb much higher than the slope, she says, as she's trying to get away here. But she slips and she falls. But here is Magma. Danny, great spirits, have mercy. Um, Hi, Amara. How you doing? So, um, and she, Danny says, let me make sure she doesn't say anything down here. Or thinks here. My mind mixing with hers, my own mutant power is grabbing Amara's deepest fear, turning it into a three-dimensional spirit form for all to see. And of course, no, that I can't, won't. She's my friend. And of course, Danny realizes she's scared of killing me, of her power getting out of control. She doesn't want to hurt me. Thank heaven. She looks as spooked as I was. When I first discovered what I could do, hey, she's the right age. Maybe Amara's a mutant too, she thinks. Amara, I understand what you're going through. You're not alone. Let me help you. Look at me, Danny. I'm a monster, she says. How can I face my father or live a normal life? Better I should die. And suddenly, she's hit. And it is, of course, Celine. And Celine says, poor thing. It seems only fair that I grant her wish and put the girl out of her misery. So, there, it is done as she takes away her power, I would think here. Um, and she's you can see here she's empty. Amara, you killed her, drained her life essence. And Celine says, every drop. I've rarely tasted anything as delicious. Soon, Danielle, you'll be able to do this. You'll be able to do this too, and in time, you'll come to love it as much as I, says Celine. So meanwhile, here, now we see here that one house in New Rome has gone against the other house. This senator here is trying to take over, basically, here. And of course, the New Mutants helped him unwittingly. So this guy thanks them, and of course, Sam is like, I feel so lousy doing what I did. Bobby asks about Danny. She's been missing and worries something had happened to her. And he, of course, orders a search party here that they want her found. And then in Latin here, he says, "My lord, she's a maiden. The Black Priestess most likely has her." And he, of course, says, "Don't give me excuses, dolt. Do as you're told." So, um, and of course, Rain says, "Hey, in my wolf form, I can pick up Danny's trail." And he thinks, "That girl is the last thing I want." And he says, "You are considered a goddess here, Lady Rain. Leave this to me." And of course, the senator says, "Do so, girl, and he'll betray you, as he did Rome. He lied to you. It's Gallia who's the traitor, not I." And of course, he says, "Pay no attention to the senator." This would be Aquila, which means eagle, by the way. His are the rantings of a depraved, demented mind. So, I have proof, he says. "Silence him, Centurion." And so, um, and Bobby sees as the people are being taken here, and he thinks he sees his mother, but he's not sure, and asks Sam to cover for him. And Sam asks what he's gonna do. He says, "I'll tell you later," and to take care of a Rain. As he leaves, he says, "Watch yourself. I think you're suspicious about Galio. May be right." Now it should be Gaggio because it's Latin, but we'll just say Galio. Um, and he says, "Gotcha, Bobby. Good luck, pal." So he looks here and says, "I'll need to disguise to get into the prison." And so he says, "This legionnaire should do the trick," and he hits him here. I love this clunk. I like the 9-panel border here. Um, so he puts on the armor here. He's gonna stick to the sizes or to the shadows to make it look like he is one of the guards. He's gonna check because he thinks his mother maybe died, but once he saw that redheaded woman, he thinks it could be his mom. So, of course, he's concerned a little bit. He goes, "We're in the middle of a mess of a both Galio and Aquila claim to be the good guys. Galio's always acted as our friend and protector." So, Sam never trusted him, but Rain believes that's because he's attracted to Aquila's daughter, Amara. Rain's jealous. I wonder if Sam's aware of how she feels about him. Earlier tonight, an assassin tried to kill us. He claimed to be working for Aquila. That gave Galio an awfully convenient excuse to eliminate his chief political rival. He had his army and all ready to go. And then he hears some voices, and so he recognizes them, of course, off panel. "You lie, Castro. You are not in my husband's employ." "I technically no. I serve the Hellfire Club," he says. "But Senator DaCosta wishes to exploit the natural wealth of this land, and it is the mom. My job is to ensure that wish is granted. The Senor, he loves you, madame. He would never order your death," he says. "But this is a lovely sorry, a lonely, dangerous country. Accidents happen. With the help of Galio, will be with my help, Galio will become Nova Roma's first emperor. He will then grant your husband the mining concession. A pity you won't be here to see it." So, and so in the shadows, Castro, and he says, "Get lost, soldier. I was guaranteed privacy by your commander, Senator Galio." Of course, it is Sunspot here who turns on his powers here and goes toward Galio, who takes out his gun, but Sunspot quickly eliminates him and frees his mother. And a happy reunion. She goes, "My son, I feared I'd never see you again." And he says, "I thought the same." And so there is a nice embrace and a hug here. And so he says, "The river." And she says, "I nearly drowned. I was rescued by the Amazons. They're all from the city. Girls sent out into the jungle to save them from the Black Priestess, who, of course, would be Celine here. Of course, she tells her him about her and what she does, which is sacrificing other people, but she believes it's to be for demonic rites. She doesn't know it's to preserve her youthful appearance. And so um, Bobby's worried about Danny, and of course, she says she's probably with Celine, or Celine's probably um, already got her. So, of course, he figures Gallios probably knows about the cult here. Now, I want to just show something here. There's a bit of a obscure here. This should have been colored by the hair, but you can see here that it was colored the same way as the wall, but it's part of his head up here. So, all right. Despite the fact that Chris Claremont and these were related to the X-Men, the New Mutants just wasn't selling very well during this time. Um, so the New Mutants were never the A team. You know, they were. Um, Marvel really wanted a another book for the X Men, but it just didn't sell very well. So anyway, he asks if he can contact the Amazons and the mom who takes out the knife here. I believe so. Why? We'll free everyone we can up here, then link up Aquila's men with the Amazons. Plus the New Mutants. They ought to toss a pretty big monkey wrench into Galio's plans. And the mom says, and Danielle, I'd help her if I could, but she probably doesn't need it. She can take care of herself almost as well as you. So, um, and so he wishes there was more daylight here. He says, I derive my mutant power from the sun, and I've already used a fair amount already tonight. I don't know how much I've got left, and once that's gone, that's it till dawn. Mother, what Castor said about Papa being glad, is it true? And she says, your father has dreams, Roberto, ambitions. Is it true? And then, of course, she says, yes. So, and so, at Galio's estate, he's and having the senator whipped, and um, Rain probably goes, Sam's angry with me, probably with good reason. This is my fault. Senator Galio was so nice to us. How could he be so cruel to Senator Aquila? And he's like, he's enjoying it. And this guy's like, order, sir. And he says, the boy has served his purpose. Dispose of him. Poison in his wine should suffice. Add the slave drug to Lady Rain's cup. And he says, be of good cheer, lad. This is a night of celebration. Sorry, sir. I was just worrying about Danny. And of course, he thinks you're a liar. You're suspicious of me, but too late to save yourself or your companions. She'll turn up, Sam. Trust me. I propose our next toast to her. Drink deep, children. And suddenly, here comes Magma. She says, Father. And then he, of course, recognizes, and he says, help me, Father. I beg you. If you love me, save me. And, of course, they're like, Keela's daughter has transformed into a demon. Guards, slay them both. Flee, Amara. Leave me to my fate. He says no. But here comes a sunspot. And you can see him kicking one of them here. And the plan worked, and here comes everybody is free, rushing in. I love this, Pete. Pardon my asking, but are you two going to lend a hand? We could certainly use it. So he asked about his mom, and he's like, yep, she's here. And of course, Wolfsbane transforms, and off she goes. And protecting the senator. He sees reinforcements, and Cannonball uses his powers and takes him out. Of course, this guy's gonna come, but he still has some of his power left. He uses it, but now he is very weak, and you can see behind him is this guy with a sword, But here comes Cannonball. So um, Bobby says, obliged, basically in Portuguese. I owe you one, Sam. And he's like, hey, we're buddy, right? Who keeps score? So and so they think that if they defeat Galio's troops, this should all be over. And then he says, Rain, look out. And then Sam, so we're not seeing what's going to happen. So we have to go to the page turn. Of course, there is a guard here, and she um, kind of turns into a half and half and grabs the spear and chucks him. But then he's hit by Galio. And of course, he says, I've worked too long and hard to be stopped by a band of children. With you Outlanders slain, my men will have no trouble slaughtering Aquila's rabble. And all of a sudden here, and what, pray tell, of Aquila himself, as another sword is used. And so here we come. And we're going to have a fight between Aquila and Galio. So, and Aquila says, see to the girls, boy, this fight, this dog is mine. So, here we go. Look at this. And then all of a sudden, bam! I can't believe even in the 80s that the comics code let him get away with that. So, alright. And so, Galio is done. And he asks about Amara, and she says, I was dying. The black priestess had drained my life away, but somehow the touch of the earth restored me. My friend Celine, the priestess, she's a psychic vampire. She plans to make Danny a creature like herself. Galio's wife, it figures, says Sam. So they're gonna go to the lair and have Rain track her down. So. And Sam says this reminds me of the mines back in Kentucky. And Amara says Celine probably is the one that dug it because she can make the stone come to life. And Sunspot asks, is that the full extent of her abilities? And she goes, and she says, I don't know. So they're wondering if they're going to be able to beat her. And you can see that Rain is going far ahead, and Sunspot says, hey, don't go too far ahead, but all of a sudden he's cut off. And here comes Celine using power and using the stone hair to catch him, and they're going to try to break free, but instead they are buried alive here. So, but you can see Sam uses powers to get out. So does Magma. But what about Sunspot here? And you can see she doesn't look very well here, and so Sam says, poor kid, she looks as lost as we did when we discovered our powers. I wish I could say something to make her feel better. My own power makes me invulnerable when I'm blasting, so I don't have to hurt myself smashing into things. Hope that applies to picking up hot things too. So he then grabs Bobby, and so they bust through, and Celine and Danny are waiting for him here. And the cavalry at last. And Celine says, do not delude yourself, apprentice. They come not to your rescue, but to their doom. And here, Rain versus that monolith here. Let me deal with the rock wolf. It's but a small measure of the fate I have in store for its creator. And it looks like here, so Danny yells, Amara, not dead. How delicious to feast once more on your life, she says. That's it, Rain, get her. And so, Amara, don't, that's not our way. We're not killers. But Celine disposes of them anyway. Did you not? Did you learn nothing from our first encounter, sweetlings? I'm not to be trifled with, nor can I be, nor can I perish by mortal means. So, stop it, Celine. Please spare them. Let them go. I'll do anything. And Celine goes, "You bargain from a position of absolute weakness, my darling. Why give up anything when soon enough I'll have you all?" And Sunspot's like, "Don't beg, Danny. Not for us. Don't give this witch the satisfaction." And she, um, you can see she uses her powers to push him away. And let's see here. Is death of sleep too quick and easy? Would you rather I rend you limb from limb? And he says, "Do your worst, evil one. With my last breath, I defy you." And she's like, "Oh, really?" And then he says, "Smart move, DaCosta. You've really made her mad. Hey, maybe it was smart. Celine's power isn't infinite. She has limits too. Celine's concentrating so much on Bobby, she's weakened her hold on me." And so then he uses her powers, and which of course Celine's biggest fear is her own death. So she looks back and allows Bobby to strike her in the heart, but of course that doesn't really work. She can't really die. Not like as she mentioned before, not by normal ways here. Of course, she begins to drain Bobby's life here, and here comes Cannonball, and Cannonball makes a huge hole to allow the sun to be to peek through so that he can then get his powers back here. And they're gonna start working as a team here. He says, "Amara, burn a fissure into the earth as deep as you can." So she does. And now they're gonna throw Celine into the fire, and then he's gonna seal it behind here. And Bobby, or oh my goodness, so many characters. Cannonball says, "You killed her." And he says, "It's no less than she deserved." And they're like, "That's not the point. We're supposed to be better for that." So, and he says, "It's an easy rule for Professor Xavier to follow, safe in New York." And then he says, she can't die anyway. So, all right. And Amara says, "What of me? Is my power a blessing or a curse? Will I become like you, New Mutants, or like Celine?" And so, next issue, Sunstroke. So, The New Mutants, number 11. Chris Claremont, Sal Buscema, and Tom Mandrake. Like and subscribe. I do thank you for listening. Goodbye.